Hey everyone, Alex back again. So yesterday was Record Store Day 2025. We may get another one on Black Friday, not entirely sure. Um, but yeah, I've seen quite a few people's videos already, and I wanted to get mine up yesterday. But after Record Store Day, I came home for a bit, and then I had to go to work not long after, so there wasn't a lot of time for me to really film much of anything. So this is going to be my record store day video. Now I will say my list was a lot longer than what I managed to get hold of. Um, a lot of stuff was, I thought I got there early enough. Apparently not, because I was still like 30th in the queue or something like that. Like the queue was 30 deep and growing. Um, and I've obviously seen other people's videos and photos from other record stores around the world that I follow. The queues were crazy for most places, and I think this is definitely one of the best lists for record store day we've had in a while. It was just stacked full of gems and hits and stuff that is gonna make people queue at 3 o'clock in the morning, like most people were. I know I've heard stories of people queuing at midnight, not at the local store I went to, but other places, for example. Um, there were some things on my list that unfortunately were already sold out when I got in the store. The Anne LaHavis album, unfortunately, was already sold out. I think there's some copies on Discogs for not much more than the marketed price, so I may get one of those at some point. Um, Gorillas, there was one copy, but it was a bit out of the price I wanted to pay. The Peter Tosh Greatest Hits, it was like £40 or something, which it was a single LP, it was a Greatest Hits. Not, no, I don't think it was really worth it. Um, I know the album only came out in Brazil, but still, the Madness release sold out by the time I got there. Yeah, just everything was going, and it was a shame because there was a lot of stuff I wanted. The Gil Scott Heron Brian Jackson release had sold out. There was another Gil Scott Heron album that I was umming and ahhing about, but decided to opt for something else because originals aren't that expensive, not that common to come by, but not expensive, and it has been reissued previously and will probably get reissued again. And I noticed the same with the Midnight Train album, but I just really wanted that. That was one of my big ones from this year, but I didn't get it. Instead, I ended up getting some other stuff. This is definitely the most I've ever picked up on Record Store Day. I normally only get one or two titles, particularly if it's like an album I really want. I mainly just prioritize. But I picked up five things this year, which I know compared to most people, because I was seeing people's bags as they were coming out. Like I said, I was 30th in the queue. The store that I went to, what they were doing, they were getting the first 20 people in the queue. They picked up their lists. They would go through their lists in the order that they're in the queue, bag them up, and save a bit of time, so they can get people in, get people straight out again, so that they can get people in quicker, and not everyone's queuing, and it saves people fighting over all the albums and stuff like that. But yeah, it was, like I said, one of the most best stacked lists we've had in a very long time. And for me, there was quite a few on the list, but this one was kind of my main priority on the list. This is the 7-inch single Come Down by Anderson .Paak. One of my favourite songs off of the Malibu album that he did in 2016. It was around the time I got into him. I saw him live in 2019, I think. I think it was 2019 I saw him live. Really, really good live act. This has three different track versions of Come Down: an explicit version, a clean version, an instrumental version. Left the Money No but if you're a fan, a complete of Anderson .Paak, definitely worth picking up. And it was the last one in the store when I got there, so I don't know how many he had. I don't know if he only had the one. But I was talking to my friend who owns the record shop in town, and he said that there were some things he ordered where he got as many as he ordered, and other stuff he ordered, he ordered like 10 copies and may have got like one or two delivered, which is the problem. Another problem you run with Record Store Day. But this single is one of 2,000 copies, as you see on the hype sticker. I did manage to save the hype sticker, luckily. And I'm not going to show you the vinyl, if it's just black vinyl. But this is a really, really good single. Like I said, one of my favourites from him. One of my favourite songs from him, so I had to grab that one. And the other one that was high on my wants list, outside of the other stuff I couldn't grab, again, like the Gorillaz, a bit more than I wanted to pay, but it's not on streaming services until the end of the month. It's an audiophile pressing. It's limited to 1,000 copies, and each artwork is different, so each individual artwork is like a one of one, I think. It's the new Wu-Tang Mathematics album. I've been obsessed with the singles, each one of them. One came out on Friday before Record Store Day, and that's probably been, probably listened to that on repeat at least 30 times in the last 2 days, maybe more. But yeah, really, really good. Like I said, I haven't spun any of these yet. I have opened them all just to see the vinyl and stuff, and really, really happy with these. This has like a matte finish on the cover, which is good. You get a little information card on the outside. Basically tells you who features on it. There's tracks from like Benny the Butcher, Willie the Kid is on this, Corrupt is on here, Cool G Rap features, Master Killer is on here. You've got all the usual Wu-Tang suspects like Method Man, RZA, Capadonna, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killer, Raekwon, Jizza, and a bit more information about the actual pressing on the back. It's an audiophile pressing. It's pressed at 45 RPM, or plays at 45 RPM, which is really nice. So it should sound really good. But there's a little insert poster type thing. For what you get with it, it probably wasn't worth the price. It was definitely the most expensive album I've ever bought. I think one of the more expensive albums on Record Store Day, outside of the Oasis box set and the George Harrison Zoetrope and stuff like that. As just a straight up album, and it's a double album, definitely one of the more expensive ones. But this one, you get a green splattered vinyl, really nice there. That's disc 1. And the other one, the other record is a red marble. So really happy with this, how this one turned out. Like I said, I haven't listened to any of these yet. I am excited to give this a listen, and it will definitely, this Wu-Tang album will definitely be the first one I spin when I eventually get around to playing some of this. But for now, just having a Wu-Tang album produced by Mathematics is good as in itself anyway. But I'm excited for this because from what I've heard from the singles, it does sound more like a Wu-Tang album, whereas their previous album that was produced by Mathematics, just to me it sounded like a hip-hop album featuring Wu-Tang members, which is unfortunate. I hate saying that about a Wu-Tang album, but it's just how the album made me feel. This one, from the singles, sounds more like a straight-up Wu-Tang album. It comes in its own like lockable sleeve. Like I said, it's an audiophile pressing, so they've definitely put a lot of effort into pressing this one. And each artwork, I was reading the card on the back earlier, each individual artwork is a one of one, so there's like 1,000 different versions. So thank God I'm not out to get all of them, because this one's already selling for 3 times the price it was on Record Store Day, which I think is insane. But for anyone keeping score at home, if you can see that, number 481 of 1,000. Over the Moon. Another one that was 3 times the price, but no, actually I'll leave that one until for a minute, and I'll get on to the other release. This one, I had like a list of things I had in reserve if I couldn't find what I was really, really looking for. And like the War album, which I know you can get originals pretty cheap when you find them. They're normally pretty beat. There wasn't any of those left. I had a few others on my list that I ended up not picking up, but this one I really wanted to grab. I know originals of this can be quite cheap, but this is Thelonious Monk live at the It Club. This is recorded in 1964, wasn't released till the early 80s, I don't think. But really, I heard some of this album online, sounds really good. The only downside to this is unfortunately the one I got, the corner's a little creased, but it was the only one left, so I kind of had to pick it up. But again, black vinyl, and they've recreated the Circle Columbia label there, and again saved the hype sticker on the white paper inner sleeve there. Tell just very minimalistic double LP of Monk live in 1964 as it says, and then gives you the musicians on the hype sticker, and then inside the gatefold and on the back is sort of a news article, I think, or like a story about Thelonious Monk, which is really insightful. Might give that a read when I'm listening to this, but yeah, just one that I did have on my list of albums where if I can't get my main ones, I'll pick this one up if the price is right. The price was right, so I grabbed it. Really happy that I do have more Monk in my collection. I'm always out on the lookout for some good jazz, and that was one of them. This one wasn't on my list originally, but I figured with her rising popularity, it's probably going to be one that a lot of people are going to be after. And I do actually really like this artist, and I sort of grabbed it at the last minute thinking it was between this or the Gorillaz album, and I ended up opting for this one instead. This is Beabadoobee live and acoustic in London. I probably do prefer this to grabbing Demon Days live. I think I'd rather have like a copy of Demon Days. Now I know it's a really good recording and a good show, which you can see the entire thing on YouTube. I think the whole show's on there. If you want to give it a listen, there might even be some left, I don't know, but he had one, and I'm in an hour, and I was debating, do I want Gorillaz, do I want Beabadoobee? Originally I did have Gorillaz in my hand, and another guy was looking for it. He said, I'm really looking for the Demon Days live, and I was thinking about it, and I said, look, you take the Gorilla here, I have the last copy of the Demon Days, from the looks of it, you have that, I'm going to grab this instead. And he was over the moon, and we ended up talking afterwards. He's like, dude, it's like, are you sure? I'm like, mate, I think when it comes down to it, I would rather have this over the Gorillaz. And as I've just said, I think having an actual copy of Demon Days is probably on my list. I'm not bothered about having it when it comes to live albums, I like to have a mixture of tracks from their entire discography, not just an album in its entirety. So that's why I ended up skipping that one. But anyway, I'm digressing here. Beabadoobee, it's mainly her most recent album, a lot of these tracks. Other than the song Coffee, which is one of my favourite tracks from her, I had to pick that up. And I've told the story before, but Beabadoobee opened for the 1975 when I saw them live in 2020, the days before COVID. And this one comes in a polyline sleeve, I really like that. And it's on what they call a red slushy vinyl. Really happy with this one. Again, haven't listened to these, but I imagine this one's going to sound incredible. And with her rising popularity, I was surprised there was some left. I think there was like 2 left in the store when I got there, but I eventually got in the store. But yeah, no, it was weird because I thought they would sell out, and there was one left. Because I think that's secretly why I didn't have it on my list, because I thought it'd be one everyone was after, and apparently not. But this one, really happy with this. Again, give it a listen. But yeah, we had loads of live albums this year. It was really weird. We had Yes Live. We had, I think there was a Cure live album, which we always get one of those. There was David Bowie live. What else was there live? There was loads of live albums this year. But yeah, anyway, I've got one more to show you and then we're done with this video. Sorry it's dragged on a bit longer than I anticipated. I sort of dragged on the story about Beabadoobee a little bit too long, but never mind, eh? This last one was one that was not on my list at all. It wasn't on my must-have it list. It wasn't on my list of if it's there and the price is right and I can't get the other stuff I want, I'll grab it. It wasn't on my list anywhere. For some reason, and it was the last thing I grabbed in the stack before I went up and paid for everything and left. I really wanted to make sure I had this in the collection, and I think it's mainly down to them now having the rights to their music back after so many years, and I'd still want more of their stuff on vinyl, I'm not going to lie to you. But some of these tracks weren't on the original version of this album that these tracks are off of. So I ended up grabbing the double 7-inch single for De La Soul with Bigger and Respect. Has some instrumentals on the B-side. Yeah, it's really something that flew under my radar for some reason, wasn't on my list. I know he had 2 copies, there was one left. I think someone else copped for one. Like I said, I wasn't going to grab it because I wasn't overly fussed about having a De La Soul 7-inch, I don't think. But something in me just told me to get it, and I did, and I'm really happy I did, because now I have more De La Soul on vinyl than I originally had, because I only have 3 Feet High and Rise It now. Yeah, grab that one and have that in the collection. So yeah, that's oh, and that's just on standard black, so I'm not going to show you the vinyl, but I will show you that I saved the hype sticker. That is literally the hype sticker from this release. So 2 brand new tracks and 2 instrumentals. Yeah, really good release from De La Soul. So yeah, that is everything that I picked up on Record Store Day 2025. Like I said, it's the most I've ever picked up. Normally, I pick up like 1 or 2, like really big major ones. This year I picked up some stuff that maybe I could have left behind and it would have been there like in a couple of weeks, but I didn't want to chance it. And obviously the other really big one for me, Leanne Lahabis, wasn't available, but I think there's some on Discogs at a reasonable price still. So I may have to try and get that if I can before they skyrocket again. Or if I can't, I just gotta hope for another reissue of it. But for now, yeah, that's everything that I picked up on Record Store Day. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all again really soon. Bye.